Oh boy, that's fun. That was real fun. Let me see if I can get people back on the stream real quick. I'm sorry for those of you who are watching the recording right now. I'll explain why in just a second that we ended up with this little snafu. Just keeping an eye on things for a sec. Studio, there we go, okay. Making sure we're all good. Copy and paste a link into the chat. Okay. Just waiting for people to rejoin. I think people should have gotten a notification. Yeah, got it. Okay, I got the notification too. Okay, cool. So we got some folks back on Twitch side. Happy to see you all here. And then got a couple on YouTube side. Great. So what happened was that I forgot to plug in my laptop that drives the stream before I started the stream, so the battery died. And I'm hoping that the battery will get enough charge from the charger to continue to stay up during the stream. I have noticed with this Framework laptop that the charger doesn't seem to drive enough power to the laptop to keep it charged, or to power it enough to also charge the battery simultaneously whenever the laptop is under load. So that might be a fun little challenge to have to deal with, but maybe it will all be fine. I'm hoping it will all be fine. But if the stream dies again, it's because the laptop died again, and I probably won't bring it back this time. Just letting you know. Just letting you know in advance. Okay, so now I figured out what the problem was. I think I was talking about it right whenever the stream died the last time. And the problem is that in the insert package tip function, when I was creating the sort of synthetic package tip instance at the very end, I was putting the parameters in the wrong order. So that's the reason why things weren't working. So now we're going to go back to the page and double check that the result is correct. I'm going to type another test tip, press submit, and then we have our another test tip here as a part of the page. If I refresh the page, then that test tip is still there because it's actually coming from the database. So now we can actually see that we can dynamically add a new tip to the page by clicking that. So that's actually being stored in the database. We can go into the REPL and take a look at that as well if we want to. List package tips for package number 1. We have tip number 9, number 8, 7, and 1 here. So we do get all that information back, which is great. Let me make sure that I get all my log info lines out of here because I don't want to see all that stuff in the output. Maybe over in package, views, there's nothing there. Let me just check for log info around. Profile, username, don't need that. Ericy says, time to do a deep dive stream on Geek's bat signal service and the danger level danger command. Yeah, I have bat signal set up and I think it just didn't fire in a way that I could see it. So that's my fault. Tips, create a new tip, get that out of there. Okay, cool. So we are able now to create tips on packages the way that they are intended to be. Let me go check the crafter hours agenda. Finish true tip author experience with DB interaction. Add link to author tip profile. We did those things. Tip voting. we might be able to do, but it might require some extra schema work to accomplish that. Add a link to user's Emacs config repo in the profile. That might be pretty easy too, but that also might require migration type stuff. So we'll have to think about that for a second as well. All right, so markdown formatting for tip text is something we could try to do. So we've already pulled in the Guile common mark library as a dependency in the manifest file. So Guile common mark. Let's just quickly see how we can use this library. All right. So if we pull in common mark sxml, in fact, let's go do that in the REPL. Hello to Exu. Ashra says, next stream, writing a battery bot for the chat that will yell when the battery runs low. Yeah, I probably should do that too, shouldn't I? Maybe flash a big danger light. This is not the first time this has happened before. I think when I had my busted laptop, it was also happening like that. Common mark sxml. And then there is a common mark to sxml procedure. And it takes what? Doc is a string. Okay, so this should be an h2. Common mark to sxml. Unbound variable. Well, why is it unbound if I use the right thing? No. Huh, that's weird. It acts as if it has it. Maybe I need to restart the server. Okay, and then we'll try pulling the REPL back. We'll try pulling that back in. Yeah, that procedure doesn't exist. What version is this? This is version 1.2. What does Guile have? Am I looking at the right place? This code could have moved somewhere else in the meantime. Geeks package by name, Guile common mark 012, and it's coming from GitHub from the same location. So why the hell is it not working? Let's see. Common mark sxml. It says move to common mark sxml library, common mark arrow sxml, common mark. That's really damn weird. Common mark sxml. I'm typing that correctly, am I not? That's pretty weird. Let's see. Tests. What is Haunt doing with it? So Haunt git tree Haunt reader common mark. It is pulling in the common mark library and common mark to sxml. So use common mark. Okay, so that's the problem. Okay, H2. This should be an H2. That looks fine. Great. And what about a link? Link. A ref represent link. Cool. So it does work. All right. So that does work. Now, what we want to do is run this through. Where are we? We're going to be in the pack. No, tips UI, tips views. And we're going to pull in common mark. And here, where we put in the package tip content, we're going to run that through. Let's see, what did they give us? It gave us a list. We're going to splice that in. Common mark to SXML. I mean, this is going to be stupidly easy if it works. There we go. Now, if I go back into the... Okay, that's cool. It's fine that it did that, I guess. It probably wrapped this in a P, which is okay. I don't really have a problem with it wrapping in a P. In fact, let's just take a little look at that. Yeah, I wrapped it in a P. That's fine. P being a paragraph block. So here is an example of markdown formatted tip text. This is an H3. Let's see. Scheme. Define foo. Display bar. What else should we do? Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did not. Should have worked. The manual man says, did your Geek setup involve systemd or some other init system? Geeks uses GNU Shepherd. So it's not systemd. Okay, so it worked in the, when you load it from the database and render it correctly, but it doesn't actually work whenever you create the new tip. So in models, content, make package tip. Why did it not work though? Oh, maybe because the page hadn't been re-rendered yet. Huh. Render package tip. It's the same either way. Package tip content. Tip content. Insert package tip, new tip. So tip content gets passed through. Insert package tip. What about render package tip, new tip? I don't know why it would be different. Definitely don't want people doing completely arbitrary things here, though. We might need to massage the output a little bit to make this look reasonable. Just checking battery status. Okay, we're doing good. We're actually gaining battery here. Bass says, thanks for the info. Syntax looks like it's eLisp. If it's a dynamically typed language, the point is still valid. I learned a lot about Emacs from watching your videos. Thanks a lot. Yeah, well, it's Scheme, which is in the family of Lisps, so there will be similarities. Just still trying to understand why all of a sudden the creation of the tip doesn't render correctly. Let's try it again. Is Richard Stallman your uncle? Why would he be? Okay, that worked this time. And maybe I just need to maybe I just needed to refresh. Huh. That's strange behavior. Why is it doing that? Is it something about how it comes back out of the database that makes it work more correctly? All right, anyway. It would be nice to have an editing experience where we can actually edit the tip after it's been posted. But that could be somewhat risky if you assume that people might want to abuse the site. But I think editing might be necessary in general. Like, it's better to allow for editing. But then that sort of implies if you want people to see the history of the tip content over time to understand what edits were made, that requires more schema. But that's something we could add over time. We don't necessarily need to deal with that problem just yet. Okay. So something to add for later. I mean, we could do it right now even. I'm pretty sure we could do it right now. But is it worthwhile? Let's check the log. So we did that. Add markdown formatting for tip text. I mean, it worked. Tip voting is probably a bit more useful. But for tip voting, I kind of wonder what we need. So for a schema, huh. Yeah, I'm starting to see that there's a strategy here for creating a database in code that I probably should have been following all along. Which is that I shouldn't be like having these create tips tables procedures. It should be more of a series of SQL snippets that establish the current state of the database as the code expects it to be. So maybe that's something we could do next time, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Having a whole stream of database migrations could be useful though. Anyway, the point is that what we would want tip ID user yeah, I think that's it. Because what we want is just to know that for a given tip that the user has already voted for that tip. And each tip has a unique ID. Feels like it'd be quite slow to display all this, but maybe it's not so bad. So here's how I envision this. On the page, below the content, there would be like a thumbs up button for you to click to vote. So if I were to change the view for the tips, below the content, Yeah, we should be able to just count the number of rows that come back. So SQLite count rows. Count function, count items in a group. The number of rows in the T1 table. Select count star from T1. Get the number of non-null values in the column C. Yeah, so kind of the approach here would be feels a little bit inefficient. I mean, we could do it both ways. Like you could have a column in the package tips table here that says like, no, that's not right. Yes, it is right. So for a given tip, you could have a count for the number of votes, but that would have to stay in sync with the number of people who have voted. But maybe it's not such a huge deal to do add column for keeping track of vote count efficiently. Maybe it's not so bad after all. So we got a couple things we might want to add as migrations. Let me put that in the notes. Next time, add migrations for adding tip votes, adding vote count per tip, create migration framework, add a link to users Emacs config repo. So could have copied and pasted that text probably. Adding the I use this mapping for packages. Whoa. Okay. So we could try to make tip voting work like temporarily right now, and then set it up in the database later. So we can at least add the user interface for it. Okay. So let's not do that count business. Cool. So we got a lot of stuff in this page. So we're trying to add the UI for rendering vote counts. So if we go back to tips views, let's see, package tip votes. If I go to the models, I can add vote count, and then list tips for package. We're not going to add any of the other stuff yet because we don't have it. We can just put a bogus value in here. Don't use a fake value. What else? So, let me reevaluate the package tip, record type, unbalanced parentheses. Let's see. Yep, got that done. Now, package tip vote count tip. Possibly unbound variable package tip vote count. Did not export it. Okay, and then rerun that. That's good. I also need to make sure that when I list package tips, I'm putting a value in for vote count. So I'm just going to say 0. I'll say 0 here too. Reload. Okay, so useful 0, 0, 0. Okay, so we got a few things in here. That's cool. Now it needs to be clickable. In fact, maybe that needs to be a button instead, at least for now. Let's see, in the views. And that was package, button. Yeah, on show, on click. Got it. Let's just say +1. Because it's going to be a thumbs up or something at some point. On click. It's going to be a post. And what are we posting to? Last time in here, we posted to packages, tips. Okay. Packages, tips. That would be package, tip, package, ID. Let me drop this down a little bit too, because it's starting to get a little bit long. And then also going to be package, tip, ID, tip. Because we're going to put that right here. So then that will push it through. So now we need to make sure we have a signal in place to make sure that that information gets passed through. Well, we have it, right? We have it. Let's think about this. Package ID is part of the URL. So we don't really need any state to be passed through. We have the package ID, we have the tip ID. And we're basically just saying it needs to be a +1. Let's see, what would that be then? It's kind of like an action. We could have two versions of the button, one on whether they've already voted for it or not. So in the tip models, we consider having a field, a Boolean field for whether the user has voted on the tip already. Because that way we could have some branching logic when rendering the tip to show the button or show it like disabled, basically, if they've already voted for it. Where are we at? The tips views, okay. In fact, the enabled disable state, HTML button disabled. Yeah, there's the, you can make it disabled. Once, well, you don't want it to be disabled. You want it to like unvote for the package. I don't know if you, or sorry, for the tip. I don't know if you want to do that though. Like, should a person be able to remove their vote after they've already voted? Does it make sense to do that? At any rate, what do we expect the logic to be when you're posting to a tip? Well, it might be an edit to a tip, so we can't just assume. Yeah, this might need to be a vote/vote. So if you post a vote, it just sort of assumes you're trying to vote for the tip, right? Yeah, all right, let's start with that. So we need to go into our routes, and for where tips are, packages, ID, tips, tip ID, vote. Got it? All right, so package, tip, vote, action handler. We're gonna go to tips, views to add that. We're gonna wrap it too, I think. We need to wrap this. Package tip, action handler. I guess we didn't need to do what we had done here. We already have ID, so let me... what did I just do? Let's do it that way. And this is gonna return a handler, so package ID, tip ID. I suppose you don't even really need the package ID because the tip ID record already has it, but whatever. Let's just do it for the sake of consistency. Lambda, context, body. And in this, we only need to insert a new row for user's tip. Update count on the tip row. So those are the two things that need to happen here. So we can try to create that row. I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed by the split between views/models. I'm wondering if I should just merge those into the same files. I know that typically what you see in larger web projects is that you have a delineation between the database side, the data side, and the view side. But since things are so kind of intermingled in the data store model, I don't really know how much that helps. I think it's actually kind of making it harder to like jump between files. So I'm considering the possibility of merging those the separate modules for the view and the model side to put them together. I don't really feel like that's going to be a negative in terms of design. I think it's only going to be a positive in terms of productivity. So I would certainly be open to feedback on that. Also, this needs to be authenticated on this page before we can actually do anything. So, so any of this stuff, like the package tip app action handler, to do needs authentication. So I'm not going to put that in right now because we need to think about how that's supposed to react to the request. And it might be that the UI itself needs to be aware of whether the user is logged in and not present them with the option to create tips. So that's another factor to consider. So in the detail view, make sure the user is logged in before presenting the tip creation form. All right, so what can we do? What can we do just to get this sort of, get the ball rolling on this? If I go back to tips models, we haven't created the database table yet. Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't for now. How can I hack this in? Can I pretend that I have this information and not put it in the database yet? I mean, basically what we would do is have an A list. That could work. Okay. Got an empty list. Let's say that we will record that there is a vote by me on tip number 1. Okay, we know there's a tip number 1. So it's an A list where the car is the ID of the tip and the cooter is a list of all the users who have voted. So insert package tip. Let's see, insert package tip vote. DB tip ID user. So for now, we're just going to say set package tips this will be good enough for now, just to make sure that we can see it. So set package tips. We got spammers in the Twitch chat. That's great. Set package tips. Is it a soak? Is that just referring to it? That's retrieving the entry. Adding or setting A-list entries, A-conts. Okay. A soak set. Got it. Votes. The package votes tip ID. Okay, we got that. So we're going to set it. As package votes. We're going to const the user onto the front of the votes. But first, unless member user votes. Yeah, we want to make sure we're not going to add it again. So insert package tip vote. Possibly wrong number of arguments to a soak set. Really? Oh. There's 3. Address list. Oh, okay. So we're using the key. Sorry, we're pulling it by the key. So tip ID. Package votes, package tips. Package votes. Got that. If I go into the REPL, if I enter the site models tips module, package votes, let's take a look at what's in there. Okay, so insert package tip vote. False, because we don't really need it. Tip ID would be 1. User would be foo. Expecting mutable pair in set cooter. Expecting mutable pair. Set package votes. Soak set package votes. Tip ID. A list key value. Const user votes. Position 1, package votes. Say what? I mean, the way I set this up, this is effectively like this. Same error. Expecting mutable pair. Mutable pair? Uh-huh. They do not attempt to verify the structure of a list, may cause unusual results to pass an object that is not an a list. Okay, fine. Wrong argument in position 1 in set cooter, which I'm not calling. Oh, something got busted. What happened here? Oh, right. Bob, Newington Avenue. Is it because I'm giving it a list? Wrong type argument in position 2. Hey, Robin. What the hell is happening? Member foo. Did I put something in the wrong order? Is that what happened here? A list key value. Yeah. Is member wrong? Member X. Ah, there we go. Member X. Wait, what? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Member X list. That's right. So let's break this down, okay? Let's break this down. Package votes, okay. Oh, that does make sense because I changed the way this is structured. Okay, let's do this again. So okay, so CDAR package votes. We're going to say member David will. That returns a list, which means that it's found, okay? So unless it's already there, set package votes. What if I do this with a one that's already there? Okay, so that didn't do anything, that's fine. But if I put foo here, foo is not in the list, and then it gives me an error saying that it's expecting a mutable pair. Well, it is a damn pair. I mean, that's a kind of a pair, right? It's calling that for set cooter. So, I am extremely confused. Because of the slight inconvenience, it'd be more convenient to use hash tables to store dictionary data. Well, okay, Guile hash table. because at this point, I don't really need it to be anything special. I just need to make this work for the purpose of getting this done. Make hash table. Which module is this in? Okay, fine. Doesn't say where it came from. Okay. Make hash table is take a list. It says a size. Oh, a list, a hash table. Great. Package votes is a literal. Did I screw up? I mean, what doesn't it like about that? Robin says, finally I'll learn what crafter hours are. Yes, well, it's basically just me hacking on stuff. I mean, using an A-list should work fine for this. I just don't know why a soak set is yelling at me. Maybe I shouldn't do that, though. Is there just plain a soak? Yeah, so what am I doing? Wrong number of arguments. Oh, okay. Really? Okay. Maybe you're right. If it treats as an immutable pair. Got it. All right. That seems fine. So list and list works for me. If that's what's going to get it done, then that's fine. Wrong type to apply. Yeah. Oh. Cool. Package votes. See, this is what happens whenever you have knowledgeable programmers show up in your stream and can tell you what you're doing wrong. Because I would not have guessed that me just using it as a quoted expression would have made things any different. But I guess it sort of makes sense because it would treat it as immutable const pairs rather than maybe something that is more mutable by calling list. I don't know though. Seems strange to me, but I get it. Okay, so we can at least do that now. So we can fake the process of inserting a package vote now in our view for this. In the action handler. Did I make that public? No, of course not. Because I forget every single time. Insert package tip vote. I need the DB. Oh, no, I don't need the DB because I have the context. And the next part is the tip ID, and the next part is the user, which is the session username context session CTX, which I need a better helper procedure for that because that's kind of gross. Let's drop these down. So we'll do the insert. But now, how do we change the page? We kind of want to change that count right next to it to have a higher number. So we can recreate this package tip votes div. Actually, that's not what's going to happen. Let's do it like this anyway. We're going to call this a span with an ID of... oof. That's rough. How do you do this correctly with DataStar? So let's see... fragment div ID question. Does it figure it out on its own? Is that what happens? Computed correct, div ID. You click on, where's the post happening? Okay, so the button click, div ID question, the button click is there. Modify the question element in the DOM. So the response itself only gives a fragment back with div ID question. So maybe that's enough. Element with the ID must already exist in the DOM. All right, so how about this? Span. This needs to be a symbol. No, it doesn't. Okay, ID, format, package, tip, count, and the I'll have to read that in a little bit there, Jazzy. I'm just going to try to get this finished up real quick. The package, tip, package. No. Tip ID. Package tip ID tip. So we're just throwing an ID on there to make it identifiable. Probably need to close that up now. Okay, got that. Package tip counts. What? Oh, right, sure. False. Wrong number of format arguments. I forgot to put a tilde A there. No worries, Jazzy. Oops. Right, that does fine now. If I go back to the page, where is it? Right. Whoop, I just killed it. Let me inspect it real quick. Inspect. Package tip count 10. All right, cool. So if I click that 1, I want that 0 to increase in value. So what I would want to do is grab this whole expression. No, S expression, give me a break. Grab this whole thing back over in the tips. No, not here. Here. We're going to insert a fragment, which is going to be like that. We need to put together the response. So the response is going to be let new vote count. We're just full of surprises today. Just making sure we're back. So we had a little internet blip for a second there. I don't know what happened. I'm trying to watch the stream and see if we're all good now. Good God, man. Multiple problems. At least it didn't die. It didn't kill the stream this time. All right, let's try to finish this really quick. I want to get done. So, in this case, we're going to return the number of votes. Let me reload the chat widget too. I don't know if that's in a bad state. So we need to return the number of votes. So if I were to look up the key for tip ID, and then get the length. No, very inefficient. That's okay. Let's try this. 3. Shouldn't be 3. Oh, it's gonna return the key first also. So if I were to insert bar as a vote, that would be 3. Okay, cool. Are we good? Anyway, the stream overlay is not working right now. I don't know what's happening, but let's just keep moving. All right, so insert package tip vote. We got the new vote count that we're storing. And here we're going to return a response like this one. Merge fragments, and we're going to throw a little fragment in here. That's going to be our fragment. We're going to take out this other stuff because we don't need it. We're going to take that out too. And we're going to do a grave on it. There we go. We're merging fragments, and we don't need to merge signals. So I can move forward here and get rid of this whole expression. And then clean up these lines. Bad let in form. I screwed up the let somewhere there. Got that. Clean that up, and then probably have a couple extra parens. Unbound variable tip. So it's not tip ID here. It's going to be just plain old tip ID. And the new vote count is going to be new vote count. Okay, so now we got our package tip vote action handler. Let's go into routes. Reevaluate this so that we can make sure that we can respond to that request. Let's reload this page. I'm going to click a 1 here. Didn't seem to do anything. Let's see if the request came through. Wrong argument in position number 2, false. Insert package tip vote. It's not an integer, it's a string. So where are we? We're in the handler. Insert package tip vote needs to be converted to an integer. I can do that in the route code actually. So if I do it right here, well, that's fine. So string to number, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, got it. Another error. Okay, so insert package tip vote 10 David Will. So that's ID, vote action handler ID, and tip ID. So let me go back and make sure I'm putting that in the right place. Tip ID user, no. I mean, I guess I do have that, but let's just go with tip ID. And for user, we'll do the same thing. We will say user is session. We need the context. Insert package tip vote. Insert package tip vote. That's going to be... So did I have that already? Maybe I did have that already. Tip ID user, that's over in the views. This is why this stuff is getting confusing. I'm in too many different files at the same time. We're almost done. We're almost done. All right. Insert package tip vote, tip ID session username, tip ID user, tip ID. So what was the problem? Oh. So unless and votes, I think that's the problem. Wrong argument type in position 1. Length David Will false. It's a const pair. So it's, let's see. It doesn't make sense, does it? REPL. That's for the length? Okay, so it does get added in. I think it's wrong though. When you're adding it to an empty list. So it probably needs to be package votes or an empty list, which feels wrong. Just defined as a quoted list. Did I do it wrong again? Let's do it with 3. Where did I do it? Clearly, I'm starting to lose my mind. Package votes. All right, 3. It's just consting it with false, which is not right. Package A list seems incorrect. It shouldn't contain pairs. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem right there, is that I'm doing it against false. Let's reset package votes. Oh, also votes itself needs to be, yeah, because votes. All right. Let's stop screwing around here. If there's no result for that, it needs to be an empty list. Okay, that's problem number 1. In fact, that's the problem for everything. There we go. Unbalanced parens. I must have screwed it up somewhere. Did not finish that out. Is it because I didn't finish this? Yeah, I didn't finish that. Cool. I think we're in better shape now. Let me try this one more time. That looks good. And then if I say foo, 2. All right, good. So now we should be able to go back and click a button on one of these. Click. What just happened? All right, so it did something. Oh, new vote count. Apparently, I did not. This is going to be in the handlers. So it's in the views module. New vote count. I did not unquote that. So that explains it. It did seem to do the right thing, though. Reeval, reload the page. Click the button. 1. Okay, cool. 1. 1. 1. Cool. So it actually is working. We're getting votes going through. Capability Snob says, problem number 1. Wow, my nickname growing up. That's pretty harsh. Okay. All right, so tip voting works. So we did sort of finish the tip interface today. I mean, we got a few things working. Obviously, this is all fake. Sorry, the part that's fake is the voting. It's not being stored in the database correctly yet, but it is set up so that once we have the database migrations from next time, we'll be able to add the necessary stuff to the database so that we can start recording the votes for each user on each tip so that we can pull that stuff back. So that's good. You know, I'm actually thinking now that we probably need, let's see, in the models, I think we do need to store the package ID here as well. So package ID, and the reason why is because you want to find all of the votes for a given user for any tip on a given package so that you don't have to make individual database queries for each tip to see if the user voted or not. You can just make one query for all of the votes for any tips on a given package, and then you can kind of do that correlation on the, like a hash table or something in the back end. All right. I'm pretty happy with the results for today. I mean, we've seen a couple different interesting things so far that makes it clear that we can do some dynamic back-end work. You know, we're using DataStar here for things like, you know, being able to do a click for a vote and getting it stored in the back end and have the UI be updated without round tripping, which is cool. And all that's happening from Scheme. I'm not writing any JavaScript code to make that happen. It's just some carefully annotated HTML fragments or elements, let's say. Also, we got the markdown formatting for tip text in. I think that's going to need to be sanitized at some point, but at least for now, we can kind of let that be. So let's go to our org file real quick. Basic tip voting not backed. All right. Got that done. So we added initial markdown formatting for tip text. Added link to tip author profile. Yeah, we did that. Okay. Next time, create database migration framework. We're definitely going to do that because we need it now. I can't be delaying on that any longer. Anything else? Let me just try to get this put into place. I'll have to fix up all that after the fact, but I can go ahead and try to commit the code. So let's just take a little quick look at the code. Oh, come on now. I didn't ask you to do that. Okay, so I didn't add any new files this time, which is great. So we added a common mark and a SQLite. Added some comments in the DataStar file. Added some database stuff. Added a new route. I don't know how I ended up. Maybe there's some white space that got deleted or something. Rendered package tips for package and showed the actual tips for the package. Okay, yeah. Tweak some rendering, remove unnecessary logs. Fleshed out the package tip rendering. Added the vote handler. That all seems right, right? Did we see the model changes? Where I added that kind of fake backend. Okay, package votes, got it. All right, cool. Working package tip creation with faked voting. I think that sort of describes what we accomplished today. So I'll go ahead and push that up, and that should be available on the repository now for the emacsPackages.com project, emacsPackages.com. That is on Codeberg. You can check out that commit here if you want to take a look at what we did today. That's it. So thank you all very much for being here today. Really appreciate your time and attention. Hopefully that gave you something interesting to look at for, you know, real world scheme programming. We'll be back again on Monday to continue on with our work to write a database migration framework so we can start making changes to an existing database without having to blow it away every single time. And I also want to try next week, maybe on Wednesday, to start trying to deploy the website to an actual VM in the cloud so that someone can go and, you know, try the website for real. Now, it's going to be a staging deployment. It won't be like the real website yet, but I would like to at least start deploying the site so that after every time we make improvements to the code, we can deploy it and you can see it out in the real world. I think that will start to make this project feel a little bit more real. So that'll be fun. All right. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Be back here for the stream on Friday like we normally do. We might be talking about this new JJ Git alternative. Is it called JJ? Yeah. We might be talking about this JJ thing that I keep hearing about. So be back here on Friday evening, or at least my time. Friday, be back here on the normal Friday stream if you want to see more about that, because I think we'll be talking about that. All right, cool. Thank you all for being here. Until next time, happy hacking. See ya.